Microcredit. Small loans to poor people for income-generating purposes to create small-scale cottage jobs and employment to take 1 or 2 steps up out of the ladder and the misery and the injustice of economic poverty. Corazon Endonela is one of the 150 million, mostly women, in the world today who enjoy receiving microcredit. 4 years ago, she and her 4 children, ages 2, 4, 7, and 9, would find a way from the outskirts of Manila in the country of the Philippines to get into downtown Makati. She and her 4 children would arrive there, and she would fan out her kids to different corners of the city in a little more of the wealthy neighborhood. And for 8 or 9 hours, Corazon Endonela and her 4 children would beg. They would ask for handouts from the street, hopefully in monetary form, or sometimes things that people would give them. It could be money, it could be a transistor radio. They would take the money home and sell whatever they did have that wasn't money so that their family could eat the one meal that they would have that day. That was on a good day. On a bad day, Corazon Endonela would stay with her sick husband, who was too ill to get a job. But when he was more ill because of his problems, she would stay by his side, and the kids would go on their own, 2, 4, 7, and 9, and beg on the streets and come back. That's how Corazon Endonela survived on less than $1 or so a day. One of the poorest of the world's poor. That was the way that they somehow eked out their living, like millions and billions of other people. Until one day, a friend of hers told her something, and that was, if you go into this little corner office, very primitive, 2 staff people, and you walk in there, you might be able to improve your conditions. Now, this was pretty intimidating to Corazon Endonela. Her friend was telling her that you might be able to borrow some money. Now, mind you, Corazon Endonela has no assets, no collateral. She will not qualify for a commercial loan whose interest rates would be unfair and too high nevertheless. The only place she could get money was from a street predator or a loan shark that would charge her 500 to 1,000% on whatever pesos that loan person would give her. She had no access to credit. Not only that, she was uneducated and illiterate. No assets, no collateral, no education, can't read or write. She walks into this small microcredit institution financed by Oikocredit, the organization that I represent, and conducts the largest financial transaction in her life. She borrows $35. Now, I see a lot of students out here, and you may not all have $35 in your pocket, but at least a third of this room has $35 in your pocket right now. We take it for granted. And there's an ATM. Is it on this floor or in the basement? $35 is something that comes easy for us. I could spend it on a dinner. With $35, like a lot of poor people, hardworking, creative, imaginative, she submits a business plan and signs it by inking her thumbprint on the document. And she buys a used sewing machine and materials, and like hardworking people, goes home, finds a way to power it in her primitive home, and makes slippers and clothes. Now, instead of going into downtown Manila, she hands out a sheet there in that neighborhood, puts the nice things that she has made on that sheet, and people who pass by see that they're good, and they start to buy them. She has income. She has money. She has a job. And with the job, her family can eat 2 meals a day instead of 1. Her sick husband can go to the doctors once every 2 years instead of never. After a little while, she will have the money so her kids can buy the clothes and the books, even for public schools. They will be able to go to school. Nobody in her family has been able to do that. She'll improve the roof over her head. She feels much better about herself, and she's paying off her first loan. Now, what would you do if you were Corazon Endonela? Because she's been successful with that first loan, and because she's paying off the first loan, she qualifies for a second loan. She goes into the same microcredit bank and this time borrows $100 at even a more reduced interest rate. She buys 3 sewing machines. She employs her 2 sisters and another woman in the neighborhood. Now 4 people have jobs who didn't have them before, and 4 people are participating in their economic destiny, their own economic participation, unlike before. That is the power of microcredit in a microcosm. Mostly loaned to women because they use it for their families, and million people in the world right now who receive microcredit, 80, 82, 85% are women. There is currently $30 billion in the microcredit pipeline worldwide that is making the loans to 150 million people, the average loan size about $200.